Hello there. Welcome to the show. It is so awesome to have you here. I am so excited, as always, to be back. It's been such a long time, and it's great to be here again. Thank you so much for joining us today for this new show, for this new look, and I hope you are looking forward to it as much as I am. My name is Nathalie. I'm coming to you live from Johannesburg, and we here to talk about everything and anything SOC, that is straight out of camera. We are here to help you to produce beautiful looking JPEGs straight out of your Fujifilm camera without the fuss of having to edit and do long stuff around your photographs, just merely with the help of Fujifilm simulation recipes. So this is what the show is all about, and we have a bit of a format if you have not joined us for any of the shows last year. We are kicking off with the new season, but the structure will still be the same. We are discussing one recipe a month that we are looking at more closely and in detail and sharing quite a bit of information about it. We then ask you to use this recipe for a month. And then when you've shot images, you upload them and share them with us, and we show them in the next show. Just like we did on the pre-show that we've just come from. In case you haven't watched it, don't worry, we will do the same thing next time again. Anyway, let me stop blabbering. I have my master chef of chefs waiting on the other side. We are here with Ritchie Roesch from Fuji Weekly, and he's here to join me so we can have an awesome conversation and connect with you to help you create beautiful JPEGs. So there he is. Hey, Ritchie. It's so fancy meeting
Nathalie.
you here. Happy New Year to you.
Oh, yeah. A little late, but Happy New Year to you as well, and everybody else watching. I appreciate everybody tuning in.
Well, officially, it's the first time we are talking, so I thought it's only fair that I give you compliments of the new season, however late it is. Because we are so much later than we anticipated. We said goodbye to you all last year, and the last show in December, hoping to see you in February, which we just couldn't make it because, we produced a whole new set, a whole new show. We have changed a lot of things. So if there are a few glitches, it's live, so you never know. Please forgive us, be patient with us, and give us feedback on what you think of our new look. And then we wanted to come in the middle, back to you in the middle of May, and then we had serious power issues. So sorry to get you all excited and then make you wait. It was a bit stressful for us as well. But here we are now, and ready to kick this off, are we?
Yep. So excited, and you're down there on the computer, and people are watching you from their computers, so they're watching you on a computer. So it's,
yeah, so that's really cool. So if you like the computer and computer situation, then let us know. And we tried something new, and see, now you are sitting in an iPad.
I'm on the tablet.
Yeah.
And somebody's watching from their iPad, me on the iPad, and,
Yeah. Let's hope we don't put you into a phone and we'll keep you on the tablet. Oh, there's Harold watching from Berlin. Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. Who else is with us? Who else is watching? Hit us up in the comments. It's wonderful to reconnect with you. We have Enrico here. Enrico, yes, finally, absolutely. I feel exactly the same.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, and thank you for submitting awesome images over and over again. Yes. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's fabulous. And here is Robert.
Hi, Robert.
He's here from, I just say he's here from the Netherlands. I would not know how to pronounce it, but it's awesome to have you here. It's great to have you back. There's lots of familiar names. That's awesome. Also, Kendra, who's joined us in some of the episodes last year. That's brilliant. It's so cool to have you guys back. It's really wonderful. If you are joining in for the first time, please let us know, so we can give you a round, warm welcome. There is Jonathan from Jacksonville. Nice and warm there by you, I hope.
Yeah, I imagine it is warm there. Still a little chilly here where I am in Salt Lake City, but Jacksonville should be probably pretty good beach weather, I assume.
Yes. Yeah, that's nice. I'm really sad because we are going slowly into winter. It's been a wonderful long summer, but so the cold nights are back soon. Anyway, who else is here with us watching? If you have any questions, please do give us a shout out and we can discuss those in the comment section. We are here for you. Warren, you switched over from the pre-show. Thank you for joining us there on such a short notice. And welcome. Andre's also here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, like I said, go ahead, Ritchie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, for those who didn't catch the pre-show, that that's something we're going to be doing in the future, in future episodes as well. So if you tune in a little bit earlier, it's a different link, or at least it was this time. I don't know if it'll be every time, but be sure to tune in if you have 30 extra minutes before the show. Tune in, participate. It's an informal discussion. We look at your guys' pictures that you submitted in a slideshow and stuff like that. So definitely try and catch that the next time if you missed it this time.
Yes, absolutely. I think we will try to do one link, which is easier for all of us, but because we had a bit of a rough start with this one, we are learning as we go. So this time we had to split it up into a separate stream. Anyway, be that as it may, there will be lots more of that. And you can ask away in the comments throughout the whole show. We will have a few extra minutes towards the end of the show to take some more of your questions. But at any point, the show is for you. It is for you to ask questions. It's for you to get answers to all the things that you want clarity, you want help with, to get you up and running and get you shooting awesome JPEGs.
Yep.
And I think we are starting off by looking back. And that is, just to have a squiz for anyone who has missed some of the episodes or someone is tuning in for the first time. We've done a whole season of shows last year. Can you believe it?
Yeah. So be sure to watch those if you missed them,
Yes, we had lots of good fun. We started off. We've done a total of 6 episodes so far, and we started off with the first one, which was a really cool episode number 1, where we really discussed Fuji X Weekly in detail, and it was an awesome opportunity to get to know Ritchie a little bit better. If you want to find out how it all started and get to know Ritchie a little bit, then make sure to watch that episode.
Yep. And then in episode 2, we started talking about film simulation recipes, Kodachrome 2. We had some really great questions from the audience that we were able to answer. So a lot of good information in there. Discussed the importance of using RAW. Even though we're JPEG photographers, that doesn't mean we don't use RAW. And so we talked about that. We talked about white balance shift, how to remember which recipe was used when you're out shooting and you come back and you're trying to figure out which one you used. If you missed that episode and any of those things sound interesting to you, be sure to go back and watch episode 2.
Yes, exactly. We went right into all the juicy bits there. Of course, now I have to be the one to talk about episode number 3, which was the wonderful episode. If you want to have a laugh at Ritchie and I trying to figure out what flags are what countries, then please watch that show. I looked back at it and I had a bit of a giggle and a bit of a like, oh my goodness. I need to go and go back and study a bit of geography, I think. Anyway, but that wasn't everything. We also chatted about how to use the Fuji X Weekly app a little bit in more detail. And if you can't remember all of this right now, don't worry. We have chapter markers in all our episodes, so you can find your way around a little bit easier. And make sure to catch up on all the stuff that you might have missed.
Then after that was episode 4. We introduced a couple new segments. We talked about just some different news items relating to our websites or Fujifilm and that kind of thing. And also recipes for special occasions, which is just simply if you're in a certain situation, what recipe should you use? And it's just ideas for that. And we made those standalone videos, so you can actually, if you don't want to catch the whole episode, you can watch those segments as their own individual videos that are much shorter.
I think that is like a really nice spin-off that came from the show, that we have those assets. Because I think a lot of people ask when we can, when we are shooting landscapes or portraits or other situations that you might have, and then you've got a few extra recipes that you can choose from, and you're not stuck and short for ideas.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And in episode number 5, we talked about some seriously nitty-gritty stuff and noise and grain. So if that is anything that might interest you, then make sure to check out that episode.
And then we finished off season 6 with the big, huge, long 2-hour special that was supposed to be 1 hour. And it was. We talked about color chrome effect blue. You demoed the Instax Mini.
Yes,
and was that when we had the audio issue? And that was a fun little game we played. So when you do a live event, there's always surprises, and so that was one of them. And we had a good time. And if you have a couple hours to that you're not sure what to do with, you can go, and you haven't seen that episode, you weren't there when it was live, and you haven't watched it since, be sure to go back and watch that episode. It's a good time.
Yes, absolutely. All the stuff we did last year. It was really good fun, and we are going to do it all over again this year. We are going to, put a bit of a new spin on it. And that is, apart from, the new look, there is some things that we feel we want to do differently or a little bit better, or stuff that we learned where we could improve on. So let's have a bit of a look as to what we have thought of. While we are saying hello to Ari from Mexico. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hello.
And also Truman is here with us. It's fabulous to have you. If you're new, please let us know. We want to give you a shout out. Yes, Caroline, you are new.
Hi,
it's
Caroline.
your first time here from Israel. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you for submitting images. It's wonderful to have you with us. Everyone in the audience, let's give Caroline a warm welcome. And then we have Doubtful Palace. He's from Oakland.
Well, I'm glad you were able to tune in while you could, so that's really good. You have to catch the rest of it later.
Yes, absolutely. Fabulous. Should we look at what we're doing in season 2?
Yeah, let's drive right in.
Jason, come with us. Let's have a look what we are getting up to this season. So we're starting off with the fact that we started with a pre-show. We will do that on a more better organized basis next time. We've got some changes to how you submit your images, and we want you to be our live guest. So first, let's explain to you a little bit more about our pre-show. So we go live half an hour before the start of the real show to have a bit of a casual chat to you. You can come and ask us questions, and we just chat away on all sorts of things that we don't cover or haven't yet covered in the main show. And also, you can give us ideas as to what we could discuss in the main show.
For example, in this pre-show, we talked about ProMist and Cinebloom filters, and we had a little quiz. We played a game, and it was just a really good time.
Yes, exactly. So that's really cool. If that's something for you, make sure to tune in earlier.
And then another change is that we've had so many submissions of pictures, which has been absolutely wonderful. We want to be able to showcase them all, but it just makes the show so long. So what we're doing is we're showing all of the pictures before the show and the pre-show, and also after the show. So if you didn't catch the pre-show, you can wait till after the show, watch it then, and then we'll try and get that standalone video of those that slideshow out like right away. So you'll have a chance to see all of the images at that point. We're going to just show some of the pictures in the show itself, and so that's one of the big changes, and hopefully that'll help not only allow us to be able to show more of your pictures, but also reel in the time of the show just a little bit, so it's not 2 hours like the end of last season.
Okay, so I hope it's only me who's not hearing Ritchie at the moment. The audio's gone a little bit funky again, but if you heard him, then everything's fine. I'm going to carry on talking to you about the new recipe of the month. So what we've changed is that the show that we are introducing the new recipe, we want to really focus on the recipe so that when we send you off to give yourself a month to shoot with the recipe, that you have all the information that you need to create beautiful images. So this show really should have been called Tri-X 400, but because we are still needing to catch up with the system that we had last year, this episode is called Kodak Gold 200 and Tri-X 400, but from the next episode, the recipe that we're introducing in the show will be the name of the show, but you will then be submitting those images in the next show. We will go over this a couple of times during the show today, so I'm sure you will be clear on what's going on by the time we're done here. But this is not everything. We still have more news.
And if I'm having audio trouble, if you guys in the audience can let us know if it's cutting out or if you hear me fine, that way we can know how it sounds to you guys. So if you don't mind giving us a comment on that. And we want you to be our live guest. I know that sounds like a very scary thing, but the show is really about you more than it is about us. So we want to have your ideas, your discussions. We actually have a live guest on the show today. It's a little bit of a surprise. So yay. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. But we want you guys to be, not just active in the show and submitting pictures and comments, which is really great. We're glad that you're doing that. But we also want to get you on the show. So, it sounds scary. We'll make it not scary. We'll walk you through it. So don't be afraid. But let us know if you're interested in that.
Yes, please give us a shout out if you do, because we would love to connect with you. We would love to hear your experiences that you have with shooting straight out of camera with the recipes, and just how you enjoy that. And something, everyone's got a story to tell, so we would love to hear yours. But I think that's it as far as changes are concerned. So now let's get into the swing of things. We have some awesome news to share. I believe it's some news that have kept Ritchie rather busy over the last while. He is a man who never really sleeps anyway, as far as I'm concerned, I think. And he now strikes again because if we have a drum roll, let's play the drum roll, please. We have a new app.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, this is the RitchieCam camera app for the iPhone. It's something I've been working on with the app developer that I worked with for the Fuji X Weekly app and the Rico Recipes app. Sahan is his name, and we've been working on this behind the scenes, very secretly, very quietly for almost a year. And I am just so pleased with how it's turned out. It's still a work in progress. There's going to be a lot of improvements coming in the next weeks, months, and years. But now you can not only take pictures with your Fujifilm camera and have film simulation recipes, but you can use your iPhone and have filters that I've crafted to get kind of an analog look from your iPhone. And where it all kind of began is that I was using a one-step process. We've talked about this before in the past episodes. The one-step process being that you capture the picture. The second step that a lot of people do is they then develop the picture. In the film days, it was in the darkroom. In the digital age, it's with Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever software you use. But using film simulation recipes is a one-step process. You don't have to edit your pictures afterwards. It saves you time. Polaroid or Instax is kind of the same thing, where you take the picture and then you have a finished picture and you don't have to edit it. And when I was using my cell phone to take pictures, I was then taking the picture and then editing it in various apps and stuff. And it was a two-step process. And so I decided to make an app where it was a one-step process similar to using your Fujifilm camera. And
It's
so
genius.
this is the website. Oh, thank you. So I hope it's useful. It's useful to me. I've had a lot of fun using it, and I hope that it's useful to you guys out there in the audience, that you find it a good tool for when you do need to use your iPhone, because as Chase Jarvis coined, the best camera is the one that's with you. So if you have your cell phone with you and you don't have your Fujifilm camera, you don't want to actually miss the opportunity. So I wanted the app to be very, very easy, very streamlined, and to where you just take the picture. Basically, it comes loaded with a filter already. You don't need to edit. Very intuitive controls. So that basically the idea was that it wasn't just for photographers, that like kids could use it, or grandma could use it, or whoever, anybody could use it and not feel like it's overwhelming or confusing or anything like that, and you would still get good pictures. There are 17 filters on it right now. More will be added at some point in the future. The app is free. It's free to download. It's free to use. No ads, no data collection. So you don't have to worry about your privacy not being private. But you get 3 filters for free. And then if you subscribe, then it unlocks the rest of them. And it also unlocks the ability to favorite your filter. So that makes the process a little faster and easier for you.
Yes, so it's really all about making it easy and straightforward, and a good way to get you to create beautiful photographs, even without a real camera. I have used it quite a bit. I also I love some of the results that I've been getting, and I think it's a really, really nice and neat idea. So you should definitely give it a try and see if you like it. We have a little short video clip here that one of the fans, I can say, from Ritchie has made and sent to him. So we're going to have a look so that you can see live what it would be like to use the app. So that's really cute. It gives you a nice idea what it is like to shoot pictures in a vintage Kodak, is what this person used. And it's, simple, straightforward, and it's really nice to use. We can then also show you live here how you take pictures.
Yay.
Just yay, just so that we can give you another look as to what it is like when it's on your phone. So whenever we're ready, we can switch over. There we go. You are now looking at my phone, and we even have a different kind of a view. So this is for my crew in the background. If you give us the look so that we can see my phone inside the phone, that would look even nicer. So while they're getting ready, I'm going to show you how to launch this app. So you're now looking at my screen, and you see at the bottom right here, I have the RitchieCam app ready and waiting, right next to the Fuji X Weekly app. And I am going to open it here and going to take a picture. I have faded film as one of my favorites. And so you open the app, it immediately opens the camera, and you can then choose what kind of a look you want. Like Ritchie said, there is plenty of different ones to choose from. And they also come with a little bit of an explanation and some sample images. So if you're not quite sure what it's all about, you can check that eye symbol on the side there, and then it gives you some sample images, which is also really useful. And all you then need to do is take the picture. You have control over your flash, and you can favorite the film and also do a little bit of an adjustment on the filter. So if you don't want quite as much, you can adjust that here. And adjust the exposure up and down, and then you take the picture. And that's really it. And then when you've taken the pictures, you can print them out on Instax prints, and then you have an even nicer photograph.
Yep. And that's a fun way to use it if you have an Instax printer, is you can take the pictures on your RitchieCam app and then print them as Instax. Is that what you have there? Are those Instax pictures taken with RitchieCam?
They are. They are indeed.
Oh, wow.
So
that's pretty nice.
So we're doing a lot of inside. So this is a RitchieCam photo of RitchieCam photos inside an iPhone.
Yep. That's funny.
So, yeah.
So if you favorited a filter like you did there with the faded film, whatever the favorited one that's first in the list, and you can organize them however you want, whatever order you want. You add as many as you want or as few, and then organize them in whatever order. But whatever one is first, when you open the camera app, that's the one that it'll be automatically loaded to. So you can have your favoritist favorite, your most favorite. You can have that be the one that it opens up to when you open the app.
Okay. That's very useful. That's very nice. Awesome. Well, thank you, Ritchie. This is a really nice addition to my app collection. And I have enjoyed using it. The results, I think, look really great. So I invite you to try it out. And
if any of you in the audience, if any of you in the audience have this app on your phone and you're using it, let us know what you think of it. Let me know. I would love to get your feedback. And it's been a lot of fun. And I hope that you find it a useful tool for you, and that it's helpful for your photography.
Yes. So that would be great. Fabulous. And I think this is what we have as far as news are concerned, but we have lots more to talk about. So let's dive into a bit of a tip. So we always have some information for you to make life a little bit easier to help you along in shooting JPEG straight out of camera. And we did this last year, but I want to run through this again because it is a really good way to give you a foundation to start correctly, especially if you are new, which I believe there are quite a few of you that are tuning in for the first time. So what I would like to do is run through how you actually load a recipe into your camera. And I'm going to ask Ritchie to help me with that. So I've got my camera here, and you'll be able to see onto the back of it. And I want to load the Kodak Gold 200 recipe onto my X-T3. I've got an X-T3 here, and Ritchie will guide me through this. You're seeing a funny picture here at the moment just because I want to start off correctly by I'm going to take this first step and then I'll hand over to Ritchie. What you're going to start off with is you're pressing the Q menu on the back of your camera for the first time. And then you get into this dialog box. And now it's over to you, Ritchie. If you can talk me through how to do this quickly.
Okay, so once you press and let go of the Q button, it brings up the Q menu. And then if you press and hold it, it'll bring up the Edit, Save, Custom menu setting. And that's the easiest way to get into it. And once you got that in there, you choose which position you want to put the new recipe. And I brought it up here on my the Fuji X Weekly app on my iPhone. So that's where you could find, if you don't have the app, make sure you go and download the Fuji X Weekly app. The Kodak Gold 200 recipe is what we're putting in. So you want to arrow to the right or press OK, and that will bring you to this setting here. And we're going to put in the parameters. So dynamic range is auto. So you're going to hit OK or arrow to the right, and that'll allow you to change that to auto. Press OK, and we're going to go to film simulation recipe, or film simulation. That's classic Chrome. It's already there, so you don't have to change that one. But from there, you can choose all of the different film simulations. And then grain is strong. And this is a XT3 you're doing this on, I believe, right?
Yes.
That's what it is. Every camera is a little bit different in how it's set up, depending on the generation you have, but they're pretty similar. So if yours is a little different, it's because Fujifilm has changed it over time a little bit, evolved it a little bit. But see, color chrome effect is off. White balance is daylight. Yep. And press OK. In the newer cameras, you can change. You can actually set the shift from there. The camera X Pro 3 and newer, but you can't do that in the cameras that are older than that, which this is. So we'll get to that in a minute, how you change the white balance shift. But highlight is set to -2. Shadow is the +1. Color is the +3. Sharpness is set to -2. And noise reduction to -4. You can edit the custom name if you want. You can change the name to Kodak Gold 200 or just Gold 200 or whatever makes the most sense to you.
I usually like to write the full name, but just for time's sake, I'm shortening it.
You hit set, not back. A lot of times people hit back, and then you go back to the top, which you can just scroll down a couple, and it'll take you to the top. Or you can scroll to the top that way, and you save current settings. Or no, you hit back. That's right. You don't hit save current settings. Don't hit save current settings. That's whatever you
It's
have programmed in.
yeah,
Yeah. So hit the back button and it'll say okay.
and there it is.
And there it is. And then in order to set the white balance shift, you actually have to go to the white balance menu within the IQ, which is right there. And then you go down to daylight. Is what you'd want to do. But anyways, it's set to +4 red, -5 blue. Yeah, you did it for auto, but you would want to do that
I'm so sorry.
for daylight. No, it's all right.
There we go. Oh,
There
and
you
then
go.
I need to
So
do
if
it
you had-
again.
Yeah, and then if whatever you had set in there for auto white balance probably just got messed up.
Yes, it's fine.
So don't forget about that later. +4 red
Yes.
and -5 blue.
-5. Thank you.
And +4 red. There you go.
And there we go. And then
And
the
there you go.
recipe
Kodak Gold
is
tour.
set. And then you
And that's
can,
how you do it.
and then you can find it again in the Q menu, where you then find it here. And then you're ready to get shooting.
Yep. So if you didn't already have Kodak Gold 200 in your camera, you can now grab your camera and set that up.
Yes, exactly.
Add that to your C1 through C7 presets.
Yes, perfect. So every time you load a recipe, you'll go about it this way. And yeah, you have at least 7 different films or cameras available to you at any one time. Cool.
With a few exceptions. The XS10, I think there's only, the XS10 has 4, I think. And then the Bayer ones have like just the 1.
Yes.
But other than that, most cameras have C1 through C7.
Yes, and you have the app with you, so you can change them as you go along. So no fear there. We've got you covered. Should we head on over to the next section and look a little bit at this? Oh, we've got a comment. We've got a comment from Anders. He said, I'll have to try out the new app. Yes. The RitchieCam is yours for the taking. Go download it now and try it out. Uh-oh.
Yep. Right now it's only on Apple.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, Enrico, you'll just have to switch over to an iPhone for now. And it's something made for Rebecca. Absolutely. Go try it out and take some holiday pictures with the RitchieCam. Nice. Thank you. And hello, Isabel. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to have you with us. Super stuff. Thank you, everyone, for watching and tuning in today. It's absolutely wonderful to be back. It's been a long time coming.
Yes. Yes, you can use the Kodak Gold 200 on the X100V, but you'll have to decide what you want the grain size to be, because that's the older cameras that it was designed for. I say older, but they're not that old. They don't have grain size; they just have grain strength. But the newer ones have grain size and strength. So if you choose like a small grain size, that would probably be a good one to choose. And then you can use it on your X100V.
Yes. Ooh, Caroline is asking if we can use the recipes as presets in Lightroom. No, it's even better than that. You don't even need Lightroom anymore. You have everything you need inside your camera. And then you have the finished image. You don't need to do any more editing. So much easier than presets.
Yeah, and if you program the recipe in and you shoot raw, and then you pull that raw file into Lightroom, it'll apply some of the settings, but it won't apply all of them. Yeah. So or you can use XRAW Studio as an alternative.
Hello there, sis. I'm so glad that you are finally here as well. Thank you so much for tuning in and for joining us this evening. It's great to have you here. Well, this evening for me. I try to say today all the time because it's a different time for me.
People are tuning in all over the world. So some people it's morning, some people it's late evening, some people it's night. It's amazing that this is so worldwide.
Yeah, yes, it's absolutely wonderful to be speaking to everyone from all over the place. And let's head on over to our recipes for special occasions. I really am liking this part of the show a lot because I think it adds a lot of value to people if you are stuck in a certain scenario and you're looking for different recipes. And we felt that artificial light was a really good one for this particular episode because you've been shooting with Kodak Gold 200 for a heck of a long time. And that is a daylight balanced film and recipe. And what you might have come across a couple of times is that when you're shooting in tungsten light and artificial light, that your images are a little bit off. They are very yellow. Some people like it a lot. Sometimes it works. In other situations, that might not be so great. If this sounds true for you and you would like to find an alternative, here are some really good examples what you can use instead to get you great looking results in artificial light.
Yeah, and there's many different recipes that you could use, not just these three, but we wanted to highlight these three as ones to suggest to you to possibly try. And they're for different camera generations. We have pretty much most cameras covered here. The first one is Ektachrome 320T. And it's for if you have a XT4, XS10, XE4, or XT32 camera is what that recipe is compatible with those. So if you have the newest cameras, that's a good one to try. If you have a camera that's older than that, X-Trans 3, XT3, XT30, or you can even use it on the X100V or X Pro 3. If you choose, you got to choose the grain size, but the Fuji Color NPL 160T is a good recipe for that. If you have X-Trans 1, that's what the Kodachrome 1 is for there. But you can try it on the X-Trans 2 and it'll still work, or if you have a bare model or something like that. So if you have any one of those models, which is pretty much the whole lineup, there's a recipe here that is compatible with your camera, and these recipes will do good in artificial light situations.
Yes, so we've got you covered no matter what camera you shoot, so you won't be stuck anymore for finding an alternative recipe. What I would suggest is that you write yourself a note in the app, in the notes section, so that you have a good reference. You can star it, and then write artificial light in there so that you know this is one of the ones that you can choose if you're stuck and you're not sure which recipe to use in a certain environment that you're in. Fabulous. Thank you so much,
and if
Ritchie.
You're a subscriber, and if I was going to say, if you're a subscriber on the app, you can even use the different colored stars. You can make, maybe a red or something, that color star, as your recipes for artificial light. You can choose one of the colors and organize it in that fashion.
Yes, that's a great tip as well. I love the addition to the app with all the different colored stars. That definitely helps a lot. It's super cool. And then it's time for us to have a look at Kodak Gold 200. We have been waiting for this for the longest time. I'm sure you've had a lot of experience shooting with this recipe. I must say, I think it's absolutely wonderful. And it's grown on me so much. I didn't think that I would... I knew I was going to enjoy it, but I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I actually did. And I have a really nice collection of beautiful looking JPEGs straight out of camera. And to give you a bit of an overview, we have an insert here from Tim Riddick, who was very kind to let us use this video clip of what he had to say about Kodak Gold 200.
Are you going to the beach this summer? Well, then pop some Kodak Gold. Are you going camping? Well, pop some Kodak Gold in your camera. Are you just going out, hanging out with friends at a park or hanging out downtown? Then pop some Kodak Gold in your camera and you'll have some fantastic memories to print. Now, the first reason why I feel like you should still be shooting with this film today is that it is insanely difficult to ruin a shot if you are shooting it in good light. The second reason you should be shooting this film stock is because of the look and feel. Kodak Gold gives warm results, are bright, and it can be contrasty depending upon how you have your film scanned. I felt that each image had just the perfect amount of sharpness to it. The last and third reason to run out and grab a few rolls of Kodak Gold 200 is that it has the perfect vintage feel to it. I know that I know that you probably have some apps on your phone that you have used at some point in time to give your digital images from your phone that perfect 80s and 90s feel to it. Overall, Kodak Gold is a well-balanced film that will please just about everyone from any crowd. I'm making these videos to encourage you to go out and to create, to pick up something new, to go out and shoot with it. Go out and create what moves you. At the end of the day, none of this really matters. It's only what matters with what you create. That is all that I really have for you today, guys. Mahalo, my friends, and I cannot wait to see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button to help little Timmy hit 1,000 subs before the end of the year.
Thank you so very much, Tim, for this awesome tip. Please, everyone, show Tim some love. Hit the subscribe button when you hit over to his channel. The video itself is a little bit longer, so there's a lot more information in there. This was just an overview, and we felt that it's a really nice introduction to and a summary of what Kodak Gold can offer you. He's obviously talking about the actual film stock, which we are not talking about, but we have the opportunity. We are so lucky that we can shoot as if we are shooting film, yet we are shooting it with the recipe. So,
Yep.
yeah, so I think we want to have a look quickly at some sample images. Ritchie, don't you want to start with one of your images, just to point out a few things to the viewers who may have not shot all that much with the film, what to expect when they're shooting with Kodak Gold 200?
Yeah, so a lot of the things that he said about the film also applies to the film simulation recipe because it is mimicked after the film. And it's not 100% exactly the same, but it's a lot of it still applies. And what we have here is using it at sunset, getting that very warm last red light that is on this mountain. And the film simulation recipe did a fantastic job of really making that pop without over popping. There's some that would do too much. This seems to balance it really well. So that's what I wanted to point out with this particular picture.
Yes, it's absolutely beautiful. I love this red mountain. It's absolutely stunning. I have chosen this image to share with you because when I shot it and looked at it in my camera, I really was reminded of a print that I would have expected to hold a print in my hands that came from a film camera. This is obviously not the RitchieCam, but I was shooting it with the Fujifilm camera, so apologies for the wrong link here in the bottom of the screen. Yeah, and I thought it was seen out of the 80s, so I really, really like that a lot.
Yeah, and so this is an example of using, instead of on a sunny day like what you did, this was a very overcast day, and it still did really, really well to render the picture very nicely in a different kind of lighting. because a lot of times we use these on, these recipes. It's got daylight balance where the sun is out, it's summertime, and there's a lot of blue sky, but even when it's gray, it still does pretty well.
Yes, it's a really nice, it's a nice contrast to the previous image, just to see how it performs in that kind of light. I do love the mood in this as well, and the grain is just beautiful. And this is the way that I started the new year, and I really love the feel, the summery, bright colors, and I really enjoyed the look that I was getting from it. So especially the greens in this recipe really pop up, very contrasty. So it's a very nice recipe to use for that. But a lot more important than our images are what you created with them. Like we've mentioned a couple of times already in the show, is we have showed a slideshow of all the images that were submitted. So whereas previously we chose one of the images that were submitted, because some of you are very eager beavers and share more than one image, which is really cool. And we made, they all made it into the slideshow, and we showed that in our pre-show, and we will show the slideshow again at the end of the show. So if you haven't caught it yet, stick around until after the show so that you can see all the images that were shot and submitted on this awesome Kodak Gold 200. We have chosen a few because there are just so many that we can't look at all of them throughout the show. So here are just a few that stood out to us that we wanted to share with you directly. So over to you, Ritchie. Here's your first select.
Yeah, so Sebastian sent us this picture of a harp, I believe is what it is, but it's a great still life with just beautiful lighting. It looks like natural indoor lighting, and the recipe did a great job of just capturing the feel of it and the tones of that warm wood that's in there. And this image just stood out to me in that way, and I appreciate Sebastian sending us that to use in the show and to share with all you, because it's a really nice image, and just love the way the recipe renders it in that lighting.
Yes, yeah, absolutely beautiful. I love the tones and the reflections in particular. So very well done to you. And here is an image that I chose from Caroline, who is watching with us for the first time. So I'm super chuffed how this all comes together. Great shout out to you, Caroline. I love this photograph a lot. I love how all the colors are rendered, and that really jumped out at me. And I like the way you roll. So that's super. I wanted to share that. Thank you for submitting this image. Very well done. Thank you.
And Enrico sent us this one that is, I love the abstract nature of this. It's a reflection in a pool or water of some sort, and then flipped up, it's upside down, right? But we see it right side up in the reflection, and it's just it's painterly. It's got like it looks like it could be on a wall in an art museum or something. It's really cool. I like the painterly quality to it.
Yes, yeah, it's very, very nice and different. And very nice also is the scene that I thought Nate captured here for us. I love the different colors in it, the tones, and the whole scene, the way this path weaves through the image here. Very well captured, very nice composition, and just a really cool feel to it.
Yeah, and it takes you through the image to that surprise, building in the background. And then Munis, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, sent us this picture of, it looks like somebody cooking in an outdoor situation, and you have the smoke giving atmosphere and being lit by the sun. And it's very moody and with so much atmosphere in it. It really stood out to me in that way. And you can almost step into that scene. You can almost be there and smell the food and the smoke and feel the warmth of the sun and stuff. It's really neat.
Yeah, and this golden quality to it, which I think really gives it the reason why we wanted to share that with you. And I think then
Yeah.
there is one more image that we have that we've selected, and that is shot by Walker. And I just love the blues. I always love the blues. I think with a lot of these recipes, how the color comes through and the grain is rendered in the sky, I really enjoy it. And it makes me feel like fishing, although I really do not fish at all. But this is very inviting. I think it's a very cool scene and really shows off how wonderful the recipe can capture scenes like this.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one more.
One
One
more.
more indeed, an image which we think, just stood out for the both of us. Ritchie, do you want to share what you like the most about this?
Oh, this image is just so perfect. I mean, it's the colors, the silhouette, the sun. The sun is really hard to capture without it getting all looking weird. But in this picture, it's just really good. I like the how it goes a little bit light to a little bit dark with those red tones in the background, and then the wonderful silhouette. Like this is the picture that you hope to capture at least once in your life. Something like as good as this, So just bravo for this wonderful picture, and thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations, Björn, on capturing this beautiful photograph. I know he can't be watching tonight, but I hope when you're watching, Björn, that you catch this. And this is what you can expect from Kodak Gold 200. Please note, though, this is not any kind of crit that we're giving here. It's merely to select a few images that we want to share that we have received and that caught our eyes, because we just merely cannot share every single image during the show unless you want to sit through a 3-hour episode, maybe. So we have to choose a selection. But it doesn't mean that the others that were submitted weren't as fabulous. So thanks to everyone for submitting your wonderful photographs. And and for rounding off Kodak Gold with us. I wanted to mention one last thing before we move on to the next recipe. And that is, I don't know if you've heard in the news, but I think, Ritchie, we are like on the pulse, like seriously on the pulse for this recipe, because Kodak released the Kodak Gold 200 for 120 film, re-released them on Monday. So this is clearly a very popular recipe that is still around today, and you can still shoot it in 35 millimeters and now also again in 120. So
I like to think that they did that because of our December show.
Yes, exactly. And that is the reason why we prolonged the actual show, to make sure that we come and can tell you about the re-release on Monday. So
yeah,
we're just awesome like that. Fabulous. But I think it's time to move on. And we are moving on to some super exciting black and white. We are diving into the world of black and white, finally. We've been holding back last year because we wanted to just get you shooting in a couple of other Fuji colors and different color recipes before we open up the wonderful world of black and white photography. And then we are kicking it off with a bang, I think. What do you say, Ritchie?
Well, this is my personal favorite recipe. When people ask me what I like to shoot with, this is it. If I could only shoot with one for the rest of my life, it would be the Kodak Tri-X 400 recipe, and I just love it so much. And so I'm just really glad that we chose this one. Nathalie actually chose it for this to kick off season 2. Super excited about it. I love using it, and so I just want to we're going to show you some of our pictures, and then we'll move on to some other great things we have in store regarding Tri-X 400. This picture here is the recipe does really well for a lot of different situations, but where I think it really does well is like just documentary photography, just whatever's around. And so here we have a Christmas tree with a cowboy hat on it and some old books on a bookshelf. Just a scene you would pass by 1,000 times and never think to even give a second look to, but I found it to be have interesting light and an interesting story. So I snapped this photo using the Tri-X 400 recipe.
Yes, it's a wonderful introduction to Tri-X 400. There is no wonder that it's so popular. The film also itself is still, I think it's one of the most popular black and white films, has been and still is to date. So I'm also super excited to be able to shoot in this mood and this recipe, and it just this was my very first picture actually that I shot in the recipe, and I snapped it. There's absolutely nothing special about this scene at all, but the tones just had me straight away, and I absolutely love it. Just the whole mood of this kind of black and white is just wonderful, and it's amazing that you just take the picture and it's there. You don't need to do anything else to it, so that really still gets me very excited.
Yeah, because if you were using the film, you'd have to take it into the darkroom and all that stuff, develop it, print it. There's a whole process to it. And I've done that before a long time ago. But this is much easier.
Yes.
This picture here, the location's interesting. It's in Montana, and it's on an island that's a state park, and there's some wild horses on the island. But you have to go out there by boat to get to it. And there's a few little abandoned buildings, little shanties and stuff. And so that's what this is on a gray, cloudy day. Just love how the Tri-X recipe, the tones of it, the blacks in it and stuff look, and how it renders the picture and stuff. So that's why I chose this picture to be in here.
Yes, I think it's absolutely fabulous, and the clouds in the sky with this beautiful grain, it's just absolutely wonderful. And similarly, this image of mine that I wanted to share with you, I also think, in particular, I think actually the grain in the image. I mean, it's something that Fujifilm is renowned for anyway, and this recipe just really highlights it, and the latitude of the film and therefore the recipe is really lovely, and I think it's so nice. It just doesn't get old. It really doesn't.
Yep. And this is my son Jonathan. He's loves to fish, and he's fishing in this lake, and just silhouetted against the sky, the overcast sky and stuff, the early morning light, and it's so moody. You get using this recipe in like a high contrast situation, you can get these really moody pictures.
Yeah, that's an absolute classic. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I love it. The silhouette, obviously, and then also the ripples on the water is just phenomenal. Oh, look, there's more ripples on water, and one of the pictures that I captured, and I just loved the texture and the light on the grasses in the foreground. It just, really caught my eye. So I really enjoyed that. So I'm sure, will have lots and lots of fun with this recipe. Make sure to dial it into your camera and to, have it handy and start shooting with it. Can we finally spill the beans? Finally.
Well, I wanted to say a couple of things before we do that, if that's all right.
Okay, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say is if you go on the website and you look at the recipe, it's under Xtrans 4. You can also find it in the app. But there are, if you read the instructions, there's versions of it that you can use it on the newest cameras. You can use it on like the XT3 and XT30. You can use it on Xtrans 3. There's small modifications that allow it to be usable on a wide range of cameras. So this recipe is good for a lot of people out there. If you have Xtrans 1, Xtrans 2, or a Bayer camera, I'm sorry that this one is not compatible with your camera, but otherwise, the majority of you out there should be able to use this recipe. So, find the modifications that you need. Like I said, they're stated in the article on the website, or you can find them in the app. And so that's a great thing about this recipe, is that it can be used on such a wide variety of cameras.
Yeah, this is, I think, why I'm so very excited about shooting with this recipe as well. It just ticks so many boxes for using it in the show, because we obviously want as many of you as possible to participate in the months of shooting and to experiment and experience the recipe. So we are trying to find recipes that the majority of you can use. And yeah, this is the one. This is just absolutely phenomenal. I'm super excited, and even more excited about what's to come. Am I allowed to say it now?
Yes, say it now.
Okay, we have our special guest here, and it is none other than the photographer by the name of Anders, and he will join us now. And he is the actual creator of the Kodak Tri-X 400 recipe. Anders, hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great fun to be here. It's an honor to be on the show.
It is.
We're so honored to have you.
Yes, it's an absolute honor to have you. It's wonderful that we can be here, all three of us, chatting about this beautiful recipe that you've created for us. And I would love to shoot off with the very first question, and that is, how come you ended up creating a recipe? I mean, how does one get there? How did you get there?
Well, it's kind of a long story, really, but I'll try to make it shorter. I grew up shooting film. I actually started way back in 1979 when I was 6 years old. And when I was in school, I learned how to develop film, and the school provided Tri-X for free. So I got hooked on it immediately. And also I read a lot of National Geographics and other documentary magazines. So I kind of picked up on that whole photojournalistic vibe. And Tri-X has always been a huge part of that. So when I finally switched to Fujifilm, the main reason was the possibility to get finished images straight out of the camera. And I've been shooting tons of Tri-X in my years. I've always missed it since I switched to digital. But the creation part was a mess. It took me over a year to get it right.
Wow.
So there were tons of different versions. And we have some images that's coming up in a bit. So we have one of the final prototypes. It's very close, but
and you did a fantastic job creating it.
Oh, thank you. I'm very pleased with myself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the first image.
Yes. So if I can
So,
just fill the audience in there, for anyone who's not a, a regular reader of the Fuji X Weekly blog, if you are, then you must have come across Anders's name, because he has created, by now he's created quite a few recipes. He featured again today on the blog for another recipe that was created between the two of us, sorry, Ritchie and Anders. And
Anders made it. I don't know. Can I point? Yeah, Anders was the one who made it. He was very kind to allow me to share it with everybody.
Yes, and so you worked on this recipe for quite some time, and then you reached out to Ritchie and shared these details and findings with him.
Yeah, we had a bit of a ping pong match for a little while. Rich had some suggestions that were incorporated, and in the end we were very happy, both of us. So. And I originally developed it for my XT3, and I had I think 3 different versions of it. Because when I printed Tri-X, depending on the photo itself, I had different preferences. So I often lower the shadow settings a step or two sometimes, because I prefer to be more of a very dark gray than completely black sometimes. But that's just my personal taste.
Yeah, and you can find those if you go to the Fuji X Weekly website and read the article. It does state all of those different modifications that you can do. There's basically many different ways that you can use the recipe, the different changes that you can make, and get slightly different looks that are still very Tri-X. They're all Tri-X looks, and you can find those in there. And I recommend reading them, and you can try it just as Anders suggests.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Should we have a bit of a look at the kind of images that you chose to show the audience?
Yeah. A few words about this one. This is one of the absolute final prototypes. This is Emily on the photo, by the way. She's the daughter of a friend of mine, and she would very much like to be a model sometime in the future.
That's stunning.
And try to help her with the photos, do some sessions now and then. But anyway, the only real difference here is in the highlights. I think it was the white balance adjustments. I often use a quite technical approach when I create simulations. So I look at the spectrum sensitivity charts, and if you look at the graph, you can find a peak somewhere, and that's and you get a reading for a certain frequency, which corresponds to color, and if you set the white balance shift to that exact color, at least for black and white, you will get a very close match. So what I was doing here, I had a hard time deciding exactly what the white balance shift should be, because it was still a kind of an experimental approach. But it worked. So, and this is kind of a typical example of my style. as I
Fantastic.
said, I'm heavily inspired by the documentary photographers.
Yeah.
So I often try to capture the mood of the whole scene and try to get expressions and emotions
You
in
do
the
that
photo.
extremely well. I absolutely love this
Very,
photograph.
very well. Yeah, the man crossing the street in the background, right in the highlight, it has so much contrast. That, I mean, that's what your eye like goes to. But then that line, that shadow line, brings you right to these kids in the shadow here, and it's such an interesting scene that's a surprise. Like the image is very very complex in that way, but it draws you in so simply to that man crossing the street, and then as you explore it, you just see there's so much more.
Yeah. And this is actual from a little family road trip. It's my brother-in-law needing with his camera there.
Yeah.
I think that was a Sony camera, but he's using Fujifilm now. Convinced him.
You converted him.
That's fabulous. Yeah, and it's so wonderful to see the different applications for the recipe as well. I assume that these were all then already taken with the finished result, with all the settings that you had finalized.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also something that I typically shoot. I'm a bit of a car nut, so we have these classic car cruising events all summer everywhere in Sweden. So I try to go to the ones that are near me and just document what's happening. A lot of nice cars and people everywhere. It's great fun.
That is so nice. Yeah, when you go to Anders's website, you will come across quite a number of very interesting car photographs. They're absolutely beautiful. They're a feast for your eyes. So please do go there and have a look at everything else that Anders shoots. He doesn't only shoot black and white, but I think it is your preferred film, is it?
Yeah, it is. But I do paid work from time to time, and my clients don't share my preferences, unfortunately. But I do love black and white.
Yes.
So it's
I guess it ties
mainly,
in. It ties in so nicely with the documentary photography.
yeah, it's kind of back to the roots.
Yeah, because this picture here looks like it could have been captured in 1980 or something. It just, I love the atmosphere of it. I really do. Is that is the smoke on the street? Is that from a car that just went by, or?
Someone did a burnout a few minutes earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what makes that picture. Even though you can't see the car, that atmosphere that it brings to the picture is what makes that special.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Anders, for sharing these images with us. It's an absolute treat, and to have you talk about your black and white is really, really beautiful. Like I mentioned just now, on his website, there's a lot more photographs to look at. So you can go to anderslindborg.com and also connect with him on socials. Anders, you're mostly found on Instagram, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I use from day to day.
Yes.
I have a Facebook page as well, but I'm mainly on Instagram.
Yes. So if you want to connect with Anders, please shoot over to his Instagram. It's anders.lindborg. Or otherwise, go to his website and check him out there. I'm sure
you
there
definitely
are
check
a
out
lot
his
of
stuff,
questions
for sure.
in the audience. So if you do have any questions for Anders, or if there's anything that you want to share with him, you are more than welcome to do that now. We have a few more minutes with him before we need to move on. But if there's anything from the audience, shoot away. You have the man right here, right now. Or maybe Ritchie, do you have a question for Anders?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to chat with Anders because I've been looking forward to this for so long. We've been been scheduling this for a while, and I've just been so excited to talk to Anders. And we've talked via email and stuff, but never in person. So I'm a huge fan of what you've done, and I'm so honored that I've been able to share that on my website. But what I wanted to say was that these, because I get people contacting me all the time about that they're using these recipes and that kind of stuff. But like legitimately professional people are doing professional work with their photography are using this recipe for that work. And it's had an impact beyond, I think, what anybody in here in the audience can even imagine. And so, I know you probably know this too, but just the influence that this is having on photography is just amazing. My recipes, yes, but this recipe for sure, definitely.
It's a lot of fun actually to just browse through the Instagram flows. I see this everywhere now. Literally
Especially
everywhere.
Yeah. So absolutely, it's really. I'm actually getting goosebumps because it's really like you say, Ritchie. It's history being made because it changes digital photography. It has changed it for forever. It's really so wonderful, and you guys sharing all the knowledge and the community sharing in this as well, and this whole journey that we're on is just so phenomenal. And I couldn't be more fortunate to be sitting here and to also connect with the audience. So there's also a question from Jason. He says, do you step down on the Tri-X?
Well, I suppose it's the exposure compensation is talking about, and
I think so.
I use all kinds of settings there. Whatever works.
Well, and that's a good point, is that each picture needs to be judged individually, and for one picture going minus 2/3 on exposure compensation might be what it needs, and another picture going +1 might be what it needs. So the suggestions on the exposure compensation are just a starting point, just to kind of get you maybe in the direction you need to go, but definitely judge each exposure individually at what it needs.
Exactly. And a little tip with the Tri-X in particular, don't try not to care too much about blown highlights, because that's what Tri-X does. It blows the highlights.
Yes.
That's kind of its thing.
Yes, learn to love it. Yeah, I think we are coming from, when we're shooting with digital cameras, we are used to such a immense dynamic range, which is really not how film was, and doesn't need to be. Only because there's blown highlights doesn't mean it's a bad photograph. The most important thing is... Please, Ritchie.
Oh, go ahead, Nathalie. Oh, okay. I was just going to say that the recipe calls for using ISO 1600 or higher to get that beautiful grain look out of it. But that can also be challenging in bright light situations. Like the X100V with its, or X100F as well, with the built-in ND filter helps, with that. Or if you have an ND filter, that can be useful. But I think just using fast shutter speeds, you can use a smaller aperture. Those help. But if you still can't get a good exposure with all that, then you can lower the ISO. It's okay to use a lower ISO if you need to. And I guess I just wanted to mention that for those out there who may be struggling in bright light situations using this recipe. It's okay if you dial it back to ISO 800 or something like that if you need to.
Yeah. Well, I have kind of a related question as well. As here, Vanilla Wolf is asking which one of the three versions I prefer, low, mid, or high contrast. And I very often use the mid contrast because we have quite harsh light here in Sweden. So the high contrast version can be a bit too much often. So that's also something you can try.
Yeah, I think what the nice thing is that there are so many options. There are so many things you can play around with and really work with it and check out all the different settings to find what works for you. And what's even nicer is that as you are changing these settings, you can actually see what impact it has on the photograph, because you see what you get before you take the photo. And that will also help you a lot in creating, exactly the look that you want to get. And just, be experimental, try out things, especially the highest ISO. I also saw a conversation the other day online where someone, was a bit worried about shooting such high ISO. And I'm just saying, well, just go for it. Shoot at a very high shutter speed. It's really not a problem. And you will see the differences. So, take a bit of time and go through the motion and make that experiment and, compare the different ISOs if you, if you want to see really what difference it makes. Okay, Joel is asking. He disagrees.
Yeah, so it's
kind
interesting.
Of felt that
would so film tends to, and every film's different. If you talk about slide film, you're talking about having such a narrow window. If you don't nail that exposure 100%, then it's going to have blown highlights or blocked up shadows. It's such a narrow dynamic range on a lot of slide films. And of course, every film is different. When you're talking about like negative film, a lot of times there's a lot of room in the highlights. And so he's talking about, overexposing by 6 stops and still having a usable image. And you would not really be able to do that with digital. But digital is kind of the opposite, where you could underexpose by 6 stops and have a usable image, and not really have that with your negative film. So I think with negative film, there's a lot more latitude in the highlights, and with digital, there's tends to be a lot more room in the shadows for dynamic range.
Yes. And then there is the fact that, each to their own. Some like it blown out, others don't. The cool thing is we can play around with it and see. And the most important thing is that you get something that you like and that you like to share, and you get it quickly and easily, and it looks beautiful just after you've taken it.
Yeah. And a little bit of I need to correct myself a little bit. The Tri-X doesn't actually blow out the highlights, but when printed, it can look like they're blown out until you study it real close, because it's bordering on infrared sensitivity. So the last bits in the highlights, they will be so bright that it looks blown out when printed. It's kind of an odd behavior.
Yeah, and I remember when I would print my own photos, 20 years ago, my own black and white photos, and the way you would do it is you would use a split filter. I don't know if you ever use split filter for printing, but you would use the highest contrast filter and the lowest contrast filter, and you would get it to where you would have you have the 11 zones of the zone system, right? And you would make sure that in your picture there was bright white, the brightest white somewhere in the photo, and you would also make sure you had the darkest black somewhere in the photo, and you would have all 11 zones used, which of course the bright white zone is basically blown highlights, but you would incorporate that into the picture. You would have both. You have, in the digital era, we try and avoid that for whatever reason, but when you're printing in the film era, printing your black and white pictures, you would actually print it that way on purpose, and that was very common.
Yeah, I also remember a lot of dodging and burning and stuff. Holding up screens.
Yep. You have your little hole punched into the cardboard, and you'd be, you'd have that over the.
Here they go. Thinking of the good old days in the darkroom.
I remember
putting very obvious smiles on your faces.
Yep. I remember going into the darkroom one time, and I went in before sunrise, and I came out, and it was after sunset. I think it was in the winter time, so the days were shorter. But anyways, I did not see daylight at all that day, and I had one print that I had to show at the end of that, and so I'm very happy that Anders was able to make this film simulation recipe. So on my Fujifilm camera, I don't have to spend all day in the darkroom to get that look.
It's a lot easier.
It is. So here is all of us saying thank you so very much, Anders.
Thank you.
This has been phenomenal work, and the fact that it is enjoyed all around the world must make you very happy and proud. And
definitely.
We couldn't be happier that we were able to have you here. So thank you for taking the time to chat to us and to be here. And for everyone in the audience who's here, see, it's not that scary. Anders also braved the world of live streaming, and he came here, and it's been absolutely wonderful. So thank you
once
again. It's been really fabulous to have you.
Well, yes, thank you so much for coming.
It's an honor. So thank you.
Great stuff.
And also, if anyone has any questions about film simulations, just go ahead on Instagram and send a message.
Okay. Let's hope you don't regret that sometime in the future, but thank you so much for the generous offer.
I just might.
So send the questions his way. Mr. Tri-X 400 himself. Thank you so much, Anders. Once again, greetings to Sweden. Thanks for tuning in today, and we will chat again sometime soon, I hope. For now, it's goodbye from us here, and all the best to you.
Thank you, and
goodbye. Bye. Thanks for being on.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
How absolutely wonderful.
That was great.
I can see it in your face, Ritchie. This was right up your alley.
Yep, I think we could talk, film and film simulation recipes and all that stuff all day long.
Yes, I had that feeling. So we need to do session 2 some other time. But for now, since we are already way above our time limit, I think let's move on. So here's over to you, everyone who's watching and everyone who's viewing this at any point in the future. Please take a screenshot of this if you want to submit your Kodak Tri-X 400 images with us. Please do so by submitting them to this link. So you can take a screenshot to get the QR code to make uploading easier. Please send them to us by Wednesday, the 13th of April, so that we can show them in the next show. If you have any more questions, you are more than welcome to ask them in the comments now or later. Even if you are watching this after the live stream was streamed already, don't hold back on the comments. We are looking at the comments and we will still be answering your questions no matter when you're watching this. So we grow and learn and do all that beautiful stuff when you send us comments and questions. So don't hold back ever.
I think it's time now for the lucky draw.
It is absolutely.
Yay.
And did you see we've even got fireworks now going off in the background.
Yeah.
So to make it even more festive, one of the viewers who submitted the images will be winning a 12-month subscription to the app. Everyone who submits an image gets automatically entered with their name into our beautiful Wheel of Fortune that also had an upgrade. And we will draw that. And once your name is drawn, we ask you to please make contact with that. And that is even if you already have a subscription. Please contact us anyway, and then we will, take the conversation from there.
Yeah, we'll work it out. We'll figure out something.
Exactly. So let's do this. Let's go have a look at our beautiful wheel and all the awesome names that are on there. We should go right ahead.
Yep.
Let's
see
spin that wheel.
Who is the winner?
And yes, let's spin that wheel. Let's find out who's winning a 12-month subscription of the super awesome app. And the winner is... It's Sebastian Puente. Congratulations,
Yay.
Sebastian. The 12-month subscription for the app is yours. I hope that you're watching. If you're not watching, we will reach out to you. You've been submitting regularly, so it's about high time that your name is chosen. We will make contact, or you will make contact to take this conversation further. So congratulations once again.
Contact Nathalie or me, or leave a comment. Go to the website, send me a message, whatever. However works for you to get in contact with either Nathalie or me, please go ahead and do that.
Yes. Lots of ways to do that. And if you haven't been drawn yet, make sure to submit your images in the next episode and the ones coming thereafter. And you stand a chance to win a subscription as well. So congratulations once again. And also thanks again for everyone to submit your images. The show wouldn't be anything really without you. So thank you. It's really awesome to have all your support.
Yes, thank you so much for sending your images, letting us look at them and show them. And it's wonderful.
Yes, we couldn't be happier, and we are fabulously excited that we finally kicked off season 2. And it's here, and we are shooting Tri-X 400 in black and white and all its glory. It's really nice. Oh, here's someone saying that the new HP 400 recipe is crazy good. So they obviously like it a lot.
And that's
awesome.
And that's Andrew's new recipe. So
that is the one that was... He did it again. That is the one that was introduced today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And here we have a request for Lomochrome purple recipe. I think we've had this request before.
Yeah. I tried to make it, and it's just not possible. I don't think right now with the tools that Fujifilm has given us. So hopefully the new camera's coming out, I think, fairly soon. You know, maybe they'll give us some new tools, and a monochrome purple will be possible.
Let's keep hoping. Let's keep hoping. And then we have Randy who's saying the
Yes.
XT3. Thank you for joining us,
Yes.
Randy. It's really cool to have you with us. And absolutely, yes, the XT3 definitely works with it. So
yeah, you go to the website, find the recipe on there, and you'll see where it shows how to do it, or it's also in the app.
cool. Oh, Caroline has a very interesting question, I think. So she's working on a photo book. And would you recommend, Ritchie, that she uses the JPEG straight out of camera?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll definitely save you some time.
Yes.
Yeah, do
Most
it.
definitely.
Pictures are way beyond the quality that it would require for a photo book. So yeah, definitely.
We've just saved you tons of time.
Now you can do 2 photo books.
Yes, and you can watch the previous episodes with the other save time that you've had.
Yep.
Absolutely. Super stuff. That was a really nice question to round this off and to remind you again that we would really love for you to join us, that we can have a chat similar to Anders in a different way. Everyone's got a story to tell, so we would love to hear yours. So don't be shy. Give us a shout out, and let's see that we, get together and hook you up, and then you can be on our next show.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. Join us.
Please do.
Yep.
Join us, and we can have an awesome party. Don't worry. We will make you comfortable. We will guide you through the process, and we will make sure that you look and sound good, and we will have an awesome chat on the show. And I think that's it.
Yep. And don't forget to if you missed a slideshow in the pre-show of everybody's images, stay tuned after the show for the slideshow so you can see that.
Yes. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching. It is a great big thank you from me to you, Ritchie. Thank you so much for taking so much of your precious time to be here with us and to chat to us. And
I'm so honored to be here, and so honored for all those who tuned in that they were here, and everybody who participated. It's a big thank you from me. Thank you for everybody who submitted photos, for those who asked questions, for Anders for being on. It's been a fun time and a great show. So I hope you all enjoyed it too and got something useful out of it.
Yes, we definitely hope so. It's been absolutely wonderful to be here again, and we can't wait to do it again. We have our next show already in 2 weeks' time, so there is not a lot of waiting time this time around, because we definitely want to stick to our normal schedule and come to you every second Thursday of the month. So we are back on the 14th of April.
Yep.
And time to call it. Time to say goodbye, Ritchie.
Yep.
It's been wonderful to be with you again and to chat. And so it's goodbye from me to you, and goodbye to the rest of the audience. It's been absolutely wonderful.
It's been a good one. Yep.
And you enjoy the rest of your day, however long or short it is. We will see you on the 14th of April.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.